Hello everyone, welcome back to another video on the Nation View. In this video, people explain the early stages of dating.
The worst thing you could possibly do, especially in the early stages of dating, is be convenient. When you overgive and when you give too much too soon before that man has earned it, this messes everything up. Men value what they invest in. So first of all, this takes away his opportunity to properly earn you and invest in you, which he does want to do. This is kind of basic human psychology. Think about if you get something for free versus if you have to work a lot, earn a lot of money, save up for years, and then you buy this luxury item. Which one do you value more? Which one do you treat better? The other thing that happens when you are convenient for him or when you overgive is that he actually feels entitled to this now, and he almost thinks he's better than you in a way, and he loses some attraction and some respect for you. I think when we do this, a piece of us is showing them how we want to be loved, but men don't work this way, and they love that tension. They like the push-pull, and they like having to earn it. When you're convenient for him, this immediately almost makes the dynamic one where you're kind of chasing him. And let's be honest, when have you ever felt good when you're in a dynamic where you're chasing? I'm not saying play games, I'm not saying don't be yourself, but just take things slow and let things unfold and let him earn you because you are worthy of that. I love you, and follow for more.
Here are some things that you shouldn't feel when you just start dating someone. Number one, confused. Starting a new relationship should bring you a sense of clarity and understanding, not leaving you questioning their intentions or wondering where you guys stand. If you're confused, they don't like you. Number two, mistrust. Trust is the foundation of a healthy relationship, and if you find yourself constantly doubting their words or actions, it might be a red flag. It's okay to have mistrust from previous relationships, but a healthy one will make you feel safe and secure. Number three, constant anxiety. While it's normal to have nervousness in the early stages, having an overwhelming or persistent amount of anxiety might point to an unhealthy dynamic. Again, healthy relationships should create a sense of comfort and security. So excessive anxiety can point to deeper issues like poor communication, inconsistent behavior from your partner, or just an unhealthy power dynamic. And number four, feeling inadequate. If you constantly feel like you have to change to be accepted, it's time to realize your worth and find someone who accepts you for who you are. Comment if you want a part two.
One date per week for the first month, okay? Because when you meet a guy or person, whatever, who you have chemistry with, attraction to, you're going to be more likely to want to see and talk to them more. It's like human nature.
Sure.
We build a connection and we want to like act on that connection. But the problem with that sort of fast-paced speed, where it's like we go on a date Friday and then Saturday and then Tuesday, that only benefits guys. Like that speed, unless you met your soulmate, which it's like when people hear that and go, well, maybe this guy is the soulmate. No, stop. He's probably not your soulmate. And if he is your soulmate, he wouldn't mind going a little slower.
Yeah.
Right? Like, wouldn't he not mind taking things a little slower
For
if this
sure.
guy is meant to be your husband one day? You should always know when you're going to see him next. Like, let's say like go out on a Friday night, have a great time. By the end of the date, he should say something like, oh, I'd love to do this again. You would say, oh, me too. You leave, you text him. Ladies, you should always text a guy after the date. If you had a great time, text him thanking you. Oh, I had an amazing time. Thank you again, or whatever. Men would find that rude if you don't. If you had a good time.
Yeah.
But you don't have to say, I can't wait to see you again. Just say, hey, I just want to thanks again. I'm home. Thanks again for such a fun time. Smiley face. So by Sunday, Monday, he should reach back out to you again, a little small talk, and then say, hey, what are you doing? What's your schedule looking like this week?
Right.
Or this weekend, right?
Right.
Plans that second date. What I recommend guys to do is to say something like perfect, we'll go out Saturday. I'm going to text you Thursday night with all the plans. So it's like, okay, so you're not going to hear from me Wednesday, but I told you you're not going to hear from me Wednesday or Thursday during the day because I told you I'm talking to you on Thursday night. So then when I text you Thursday night with the location, like we'll be here at 7:30, whatever, that follow-up of words, actions aligning actually creates like a trust from in women. Like oh, wow, he said he was going to do something and he did it, followed through, right? So then like we talked Thursday night, maybe chat a little bit on Friday, and then Saturday before 1 p.m. he should confirm we're going out. Hey, you still good for tonight?
I agree.
Here is the dating timeline that you should stick to in the early stages of dating. And if you're someone who always finds themselves jumping into relationships really quickly, then you might want to hit that follow button so that you can see more videos like this. The correct timeline to stick to in the early stages of dating in order to build a healthy relationship is 1 date a week for the first 3 weeks. Spacing your dates out like this has so many benefits. One of the biggest ones being that you can actually think logically rather than emotionally when you are deciding whether or not to keep moving forward with this person. Oftentimes, when a first date goes really well, your natural instinct is to plan another one right away. And instead of giving yourself the time to reflect, you give all your time to this other person that you barely know because emotionally, it feels right in the moment. But the important thing to note is that if she's meant to be your person, she will still be your person 4 weeks down the road. If she's not meant to be your person, you will find this out a lot sooner if you spread out the dates and give yourself the time to come off that emotional high and reflect logically about whether or not you can see this moving forward. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, feel free to save this video as a helpful reminder of how you should space out your dates the next time you start seeing someone.
Low expectations at the beginning will bring you so much peace. See, people with high expectations have very low resilience. They don't know how to deal with added pressure, unmet expectations, friction. Early stage is all about that. You need to lower your expectations because other people you never really know. People can switch their mind. People could change their position. These things are a part of the game. Lower your expectations so you can let the chips fall. Too many people are out here trying to rush everything and he did this, he did that. Stop trying to rush everything. Let the chips fall. Let it play out and you will realize how much power you will gain from letting these chips fall. Having a little bit of patience, sitting back for a moment and actually using your vetting fucking antenna so that you can start vetting too, as opposed to trying to rush this process. Girl, you ain't rushing. Stop trying to pretend like you Vladimir. Relax. And that's okay. Have some low expectations because you never really know. People twist and turn all the time. It's called letting the chips fall. And then when you're your best self, when you carry yourself as your best self, and you expect not crazy, and you don't have crazy expectations, things start to unfold because you don't come across as trying to close a goddamn deal. Dating is not like other parts of your life. Dating is not like your work life or your education or anything else. There's another human being across from you. And that means that when you have low expectations, you can just let these chips fall because people sometimes operate in mysterious ways. Sometimes things don't work out. Sometimes expectations are not going to be met. So would it be better if you had high expectations or low expectations? It would be better if you had low because it's too early for this shit, girl. It's an a.m. in the morning. Why you acting like it's late? It's not. We're not talking about 5-6 months. We're talking about a couple weeks. Low expectations will bring you some of the best fruits because you let the fruits grow. The seeds gets implanted. You start to vet. Things start to grow, but it takes a little bit of time, and that's fine. You do not have to rush this process.
That when a man wants to text all the time when you first start dating, he's insecure, he needs validation.
I actually made a video about this before, but a lot of people that are in like happy, healthy, secure relationships, I feel like they did not text a ton in the beginning. Like my boyfriend and I, we literally texted probably once or twice a day, just checking in, like, how's your day, that kind of thing. But we definitely did not text all day, every day. We still don't text all day, every day. Definitely our communication is more so now than it was in the beginning, of course. But I really feel like any time during my dating experience that I was like hot and heavy texting with somebody, it never, ever worked out in my favor. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure those are the ones that like crashed and burned so quick because you create this false sense of connection. It's like, it's so not a real connection, but it feels so all-consuming. And then when you stop texting that person, not only do you feel like all of the things that we all typically feel when something ends with somebody, but now you don't have that person that you're texting all day. Like, that's just one more thing that you're thinking to yourself all day. Oh man, I would have texted him this, or he would have texted me that, or like, why isn't he talking to me? Like, it's just a false sense of connection that happens whenever you're texting somebody all day, every day in the beginning. And I just don't think it ever is actually beneficial. And honestly, now I look back and I'm like, how did I ever have the time to talk to somebody all day, every day? Like, what? What was I doing? How did I do that? I don't get it.
Here is the dating timeline that you should stick to in the early stages of dating. And if you're someone who always finds themselves jumping into relationships really quickly, then you might want to hit that follow button so that you can see more videos like this. The correct timeline to stick to in the early stages of dating in order to build a healthy relationship is 1 date a week for the first 3 weeks. Spacing your dates out like this has so many benefits. One of the biggest ones being that you can actually think logically rather than emotionally when you are deciding whether or not to keep moving forward with this person. Oftentimes, when a first date goes really well, your natural instinct is to plan another one right away. And instead of giving yourself the time to reflect, you give all your time to this other person that you barely know because emotionally, it feels right in the moment. But the important thing to note is that if she's meant to be your person, she will still be your person 4 weeks down the road. If she's not meant to be your person, you will find this out a lot sooner if you spread out the dates and give yourself the time to come off that emotional high and reflect logically about whether or not you can see this moving forward. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And as always, feel free to save this video as a helpful reminder of how you should space out your dates the next time you start seeing someone.
If you unfortunately want to date men, this is a trick that some men will do to get you to do the most for them in the early stages of dating before they even put any effort in. So if you hear them say these things to you or say this particular thing to you, it's donezo, he needs to go away, he definitely doesn't deserve you. Let's say this guy puts a little bit of effort in the beginning of dating you, then all of a sudden he starts to go away, like he's really not as, pursuing you as much. He hasn't texted you in a minute, maybe he hasn't planned a date in a minute. And let's just say, for example, that you want to be the brave one to hit him up, okay? You're just like, hey, like, I haven't heard from you. Like, I hope you're doing good, whatever. And if he tells you, yeah, I mean, the phone works both ways. It works both ways. This man is such a feminine guy that he expects women to put an effort in the dynamic before he's even had the opportunity to show you who he is or to show that he's worthy of being with, okay? Because men understand that they have to bring value in order for a woman to even want to date him, okay? So if he's expecting you to put in the effort in the very beginning, he is a bitch. I'm sorry, he's a bitch. Like, he's literally a feminine guy, and you don't want to be with a guy like that. If a guy thinks that you need to also show your interest to him as if he's the prize, no, babe. Go find yourself another guy, because men, real men, know that they have to show effort for a girl to want to even give them the time of the day. Okay, they know that. They know they have to put the effort in, make plans. They need to text you consistently so they show interest. Okay, any normal, stable man, masculine man, would know that's what they have to do. That's their role. Okay, so if you hear that from a man right now, he's trying to trick you into thinking that you need to prove to him that you are worthy of being with him, and that's just not gonna fly. That's not gonna work. And that's not something that is a relationship dynamic that you want to be in. Okay, because he's gonna expect a lot of effort from you when he does the absolute bare minimum. And that is something that you cannot fall for. Do not fall for that. Don't start to feel guilty because maybe you got to put an effort too. No. The best relationship dynamics are when a guy is pursuing the girl and making her feel very safe and secure and not have to question, where you're at. And if you feel like you have to hit him up first too, especially early stages, no. This guy's done. Don't waste any more time with this type of guy.
How important is texting in the early stages of dating? Welcome to the Daddy Academy. I'm going to break this down, every little nuance I could think of. The first case you might run into, a guy who right when you match with him, you're getting into that flow of texting basically every single day. And maybe a lot, okay? If you're texting a guy a lot and he's the one initiating all this conversation, right? You have to be very careful there because now we are teetering on love bombing. My recommendation here is to really only text within certain periods of time throughout the day. Because you might like the text, but we just have to be very careful because we don't know this guy yet. So we have to control the timing of communication until you've spent enough time in person to know, okay, this is a true relationship that is developing through in-person time. My recommendation is no texting before 10 a.m., no texting after 9 p.m., and during the workday, keep it like maybe 3 back and forths tops. You have to manage this and you have to keep it really rigid until like enough time has gone by where okay, this isn't love bombing, because you have to protect yourself. You have to protect yourself from getting too hooked to this communication style and to somebody who, quite frankly, you don't know yet. The second case you might see is a guy who isn't really texting you, right? Setting up the dates, he's consistent, but he's not texting you. Within the first 3 dates, I am totally fine. I actually think it's a green flag if the guy isn't texting you a lot in between the dates, as long as he is very consistent in planning those dates, back-to-back weeks, boom, boom, boom. And the energy you're getting on the date is extremely positive. To me, this shows a guy who understands that the kiss of death for men is being too needy and texting too much, right? A woman can very easily get the ick if she's not a big communicator and a guy tries to go all in on the texting. So within the first 3 dates, I'm cool with there not being a lot of texting other than planning the dates and maybe just a little chit chat, callbacks to some jokes you guys had on the date, maybe send you like a funny meme, shit like that. Like, I'm totally fine within the first 3 dates, that being the extent of the phone communication. But after 3 dates, between dates 3, 4, 5, that is when the texting should start to pick up, because you've proven to each other, hey, we've gone out 3, 4 times. We obviously have a connection here. And how do you build on that connection? Through the phone and those little check-ins. How you doing today? What's your day like? Stuff like that. Men understand that. So if you're going on date 6, 7, 8 with a guy and you're still not texting during the week at all, that's a red flag in my opinion. That's a guy who is kind of bizarre, but breadcrumbing you with in-person time because he likes hanging out with you, hooking up with you, but he doesn't want to give you that texting, because once he gives you that texting, then there's the expectation that you guys are in a relationship or building towards one. So that's why it's very important. After date 3, 4, the texting starts to pick up. So it can be slow and steady, but it should pick up because that shows that your connection is starting to grow. The trajectory of the relationship is an upward one. You might have the case of the guy who is the bad texter, right? Maybe everything's great in person, and now you're on date 5, and it's like, I still can't get the texting out of him. Like, what the fuck do I have to do? And now you're getting anxious. The first thing to do is you have to bring it up in some capacity, but we don't want to bring it up like this big dramatic thing at this point because you're still very early. You're still like within the first month of knowing him. So you want to just joke about it, really, like a really light joke, but coming from a place of confidence. Like, you're confident, but you're just kind of calling him out like, where the hell are you every day? Like, you'll know how to do it in a way that's natural to you, but first things first, you have to sort of bring it up. You have to bring it up because a man who is really serious about you.
Okay, here are some things that I think if you have to do in the first couple of months of dating somebody, you're probably not dating the right person. And I've done all of these things and continue dating people, so no judgment. The first thing is if you have to be super calculated or play games around communication with the other person, meaning like you really overthink how frequently you're texting them, or like you always want to come across as like cool and unbothered and things like that, which I think is normal in the beginning. But like as you're progressing in a relationship with somebody and you're not feeling more comfortable about communication and you're overthinking things and you're like, oh, well, I texted first yesterday, so I don't want to text them first today. It's like if you have to play games around communication because you don't feel comfortable, I feel like you're not being authentic to yourself. I remember I dated this guy, and in the beginning I was trying to be so cool. I was like, I'm the chillest girl ever. And so I'd be like, I'm not going to text him back for hours, and I don't care if he doesn't text me back for hours. But then once we started dating, I remember he was like, oh my gosh, like you used to be so cool and chill. Like, what happened? I was like, that was not me. So it's like, if you are not like progressing into feeling more comfortable and you have to like still play games with somebody like months into dating them, I feel like you're not with the right person. The second thing is if you have to delete their phone number, change their contact name, or like hide their notifications, because again, it's like giving you some sort of anxiety around like seeing their name pop up, or like maybe not seeing them text you and things like that. Again, I've done this where like weeks into dating somebody, I already had to delete their phone number because like something happened. It's just not a good sign that early on. And then the last thing, probably most important, if at any time within the first couple of months of dating, you have to go into your notes app to compose a message because you need to like articulate about how they've like hurt your feelings or something like that, I just feel like it's not a good sign to have to do that early on. Or God forbid you have to write a pros and cons list about somebody that early on in dating. Just not a good sign. I feel like
in some of my past relationships, like after we broke up and I went through my notes app, I'm like, I could publish a book with the amount of notes I had in my notes app. And I just feel like in the first couple of months of dating, you have to remember, like, people are hopefully putting their best foot forward. So if you're already dealing with these types of issues and anxieties and you feel like maybe it's not progressing into feeling like natural and comfortable,